Arcane is finally over, and oh man, that was a really good ending. I can't tell a lie. That was just fantastic, really heartfelt, and I I want to try and stay spoiler free, but I might end up just putting a spoiler warning and going forward. But for the time being, it is spoiler free. I'm going to try and get across how I feel Arcane as a whole works as a story without ruining any aspects of it. So, in my eyes, now seeing all 9 episodes of Arcane, it is not some bombastic story about magic and technology and politics and so on and so forth. No, at the end of the day, Arcane is just a story about two sisters who, after having one really bad day, can't be sisters anymore. And all of the psychosis and political backgrounds and the wars and all of that nonsense that happens behind it, it's just a byproduct of that one bad day these two sisters had. The story between Vi and Jinx is the true heart and soul of Arcane. And you can see that from the very beginning of the series because the first 3 episodes of the series is the past. It shows, you know, Jinx and Vi as kids. It's the first 3 episodes, it covers that. The next three, shows them in the here and now in the present. And then the final 3 episodes deal with the conclusion of their relationship, setting the status quo. So these 9 episodes really do a great job of establishing the characters, establishing their relationship, and showing how they were in the past, how they are in the present, and how things can't go back to the way they were, or how things are going to have to be going forward. And I think they did a fantastic job getting that through between the visuals, the music, the dialogue, the voice acting. Fantastic. And then all the other characters who at first, when Arcane was originally announced, I believe I mentioned this in my first Arcane video, is that I believed it was going to be like a 12 episode series with like 30-minute episodes. Well, accent uh, commercials would be like 20 plus minutes, like a usual anime. That's what I was expecting. So I was expecting it to be the present showing Vi and Jinx as adults, and then maybe have one episode as a flashback to show what happens to them as kids, but that isn't the case at all. It really changed the whole game with having 40 plus minute episodes, telling a 9 episode story in 3 acts. That's something I wasn't expecting. I think it's the first time I've really watched a series like this where instead of releasing it week by week, they released them in sets of episodes to showcase what they wanted to tell as the story. Told in a 3 act structure instead of it being like, okay, we dropped the first few episodes as like a little gift, like I've seen with Invincible or the new show that started, The Wheel of Time. Well, the new show that started as of this recording, The Wheel of Time. They dropped the first 3 episodes on their first weeks that they appeared. The same thing. The Boys did that as well. They dropped the first few episodes, and then after that, it was a week by week structure. But they didn't release those episodes because, they did it as a set. They're like, we need to release these episodes as a set because they matter to the story. They need to be released as this set to get people to understand the story. Instead of it being one 40-minute episode, Arcane is more told as 3 movies that are broken up into 3 episode pieces. And I think that worked really well. I would actually like to see more series tell themselves in this kind of storytelling, especially if they're as beautifully animated as Arcane, because I say this in every single video, but the animation in Arcane is some of the best animation that I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of anime because I kind of had a problem with watching anime when I was growing up, and I watched a lot, a lot. Like before I even left middle school, I had like a list of like 100 plus animes, and then I kept going from there. That's I still watch anime, but I kind of slack nowadays and don't really keep up with it as well as I should, which is a mistake because anime rocks and Arcane is proof of that. So I've seen really good animation. I've seen unique animation. I've seen really bad animation. It is really good, really stylized animation. So I really, really, really want to get that point across that I think it's Fortiche. I think it's like Fortiche. Really, that's the name of them. Fortiche Studios. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. You guys, the people that work for your studio, fantastic. I need to see more animations by you, not just League of Legends based. I would love to see you guys just branch out into like full blown animation industry. Make your own shows besides Arcane. That'd be fantastic. But I'm not telling you not to make more Arcane because I very much would like to see more of this series, especially after the huge cliffhanger that you ended your season with. So I would very much love to continue enjoying this franchise. And to be honest, I think that's really it that I can get into without spoilers because I really want to just talk about Arcane without having to worry about, little eggshells. Um, it's on Netflix. At worst, it would take you 10 hours to finish watching all of it if you binged it. Obviously it'll be a little less because, like I said, each episode is like 40 plus minutes. They're not an hour long each. So at max 10 hours to finish Arcane. Uh, it'll be worth your time. I can definitely say that. It's really well written. The animation is fantastic. The direction is cool. They do use a lot of really unique styles. The combat, the fight scenes are really good. All of the characters, they have a lot of variants from your street punks to your high society um, politicians to your scientists to your maniacal, villains. It's great. Please check it out. I would love for them to make more. And yes, I'm aware that League is like a massive global franchise, so I probably don't need to tell people to watch Arcane. There are probably enough League fans that'll watch Arcane enough for it to continue as a franchise. But nevertheless, you, Joe Schmo, who's never heard of League of Legends, like me, who has never played League of Legends, you will enjoy this series as well. It's a great series for adults and teenagers. Maybe don't bring the kids to this one. It's not exactly really kid friendly, but outside of that, I definitely recommend checking it out. And with that, I'm going to go into spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers about Arcane, then leave and come back after you've watched the show, and you can hear me ramble about the spoilers from Arcane. So if you don't want to hear anything, then leave right now because I'm going to go into spoilers. Okay, everybody should be gone at this point. Here I go. So the last 3 episodes of Arcane are just really hard to watch because, as I mentioned, the first 3 episodes of Arcane show Vi and Jinx as they are Violet and Powder. They show them as little kids. They have one really bad day when they steal the unharnessed gem crystals from Jace at the beginning, and that spirals them down this path that leads them to where they are in the present. Because they stole those crystals, Vander ends up dying, Milo and Kroger, I believe it's his name, Kroger end up dying, Vi gets thrown in prison, she lashes out at Powder, which, leaves her in a fractured mind state, and Silco ends up taking Powder in and molding her into Jinx, or, well, as Powder put it, Vi is the one who turned her into Jinx by abandoning her. That was a really powerful scene, but I'll get to that later. So that one bad day spiraled off the whole series. Literally everything was connected to that one heist they pulled off at the beginning. The Firelights, that really cool gang, which I want to see more of them. They were so cool, and I feel like they were so underutilized, but I get it. They weren't really necessary to the main plot of everything. They didn't have much to do, so I understand why they weren't around most of the time because the focus was about Jinx, Vi, and Silco, and the people who were interacting with Jinx, Vi, and Silco. And the Firelights were around, but they weren't interacting with these people at every given moment, so they didn't need to be in it. So I'm fine with that. I am okay with the story, minimizing the use of characters as long as, it's necessary. But I personally thought the Firelights were cool, and then finding out that their leader is Echo, I was like, bruh, yo, That's my N word right there. And I'm just like, I would very love to see more of him because he's cool. Like, come on, man. Like a freaking I don't even know what their goal is. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I don't really know what the Firelight's goals are. I'm sure they mentioned it at some point, but like again, they're not that big focus of the show, so I don't really know what they were about. But they're just this really cool gang of people just trying to survive. Their base is in this giant area with a huge, gigantic tree in the middle. They all ride like weird steampunk technology hoverboards. Like they wear owl masks. Like what do y'all like? Would you read a couple of Batman comics and you're like, oh yeah, Court of Owls definitely got to go with that look. Like they're just cool. They're just cool. You know, they're the rule of cool. And I want more. I want more. I want to see more Firelights. If it's possible. Now that Heimerdinger is with the Firelights, and we do get another season, which at the moment I don't know if we are getting another season of Arcane. I really hope we do, but you know, I'd love to see Echo and Heimerdinger working together, creating new tech for the Firelights because mm, I need them. I need them to come back, especially after that epic fight that Echo and Jinx had on the bridge. That's probably my favorite scene of the entire, like those, like one of my favorite animation scenes. I think Jinx probably has all of my favorite animation scenes throughout the whole series because they really took a lot of care into. You know what? I'm jumping ahead. Let me focus on their fight first. So at the end of episode 7, at the end of episode 6, Vi and Caitlin, they get captured in the Undercity by the Firelights shortly after they find Jinx. So once that happens, they get to the Firelights, and Vi learns that Echo is the leader of the Firelights. They come to a compromise, and they decide that they're going to take the gemstone back to Jace and the other counselors. Excuse me. Didn't mean to burp like that. Anyway, continuing with the story, as they're crossing the bridge to get back into Upper Piltover, Jinx stops them. She kills Marcus and a bunch of enforcers on the bridge. And, well, no, that's not true. The Firelight's defense mechanism killed them, but that's besides the point. Bunch of enforcers, including the main one, Marcus, who worked for Silco, they die on the bridge, and then Jinx shows up to steal the gemstone. Caitlyn is injured in the fight, so Vi has to carry her to Upper Piltover, and Echo stays behind to stand off against Jinx and ooh, I know League of Legends is like top tier when it comes to making like animated music videos because usually that's what I listen to when I watch from them. Like anytime I hear there's a new League music video, I gotta check it out because they're fire. And just seeing Echo and Jinx like stand face to face to each other, and Echo just swings out the pocket watch, and then like all of a sudden you just hear a clock start ticking before the music just bangs off, and I'm just like, bro, y'all ain't had to go this. Y'all ain't had to do this. Y'all ain't had to go off the chain like that, and it had to be this fire. But you were like, why not? And you know what? They're right, because why not? It was really cool. And like you see like Jinx and Echo switching back and forth between like their adult and kid forms as a little man and Powder, as they used to like play like paintball matches with each other. And you see like as kids, Jinx used to beat him as little man. And then I love like after he gets beaten, you're like, oh man, did Echo get shot? And then all of a sudden it snaps and it rewinds, and you see in like back to their real animation in real life, you see Echo dodge all of Jinx's shots and then bash her over the head with his pipe crowbar. I'm not really sure what that weapon is he was using, but it looked like Keyblade to me. It was pretty cool. So he knocks out Jinx, and you're like, oh man, but he stops because Jinx is Powder to him still. That's the thing that I think Arcane does really well, is that Jinx isn't exactly a bad person. Don't get me wrong. She's crazy. She is. Ooh, she's crazy, and she does a lot of bad things. But Jinx is not intentionally a bad person. At least she wasn't. Jinx was kind of a byproduct of her situation. Jinx always tried to help the people that she worked. Well, not that she worked with, the people that she considered her family. Everyone that she considered her family, she would do anything for, as shown back when she accidentally killed Milo and Kroger. is that she was trying to help everybody. She didn't want them to die, so she set off the explosive to save them, but it ended up harming them more than helping them. That's where her name came from. So she never tried to harm people in a negative way until episode 9. But I'll get there eventually. So at the end of this episode, Echo and Jinx, they get their fight. He stops because he's like, "Oh, it's still Powder. I can't kill Powder." And then she blows them up, which I'm happy Echo survives this, and he runs into Heimerdinger afterwards, and now they're working together. So that was pretty cool. But then, man, some people are better off just left dead. Like, I like Jinx. I don't want her to die. I want her to get better. But her being saved by Silco really didn't help that, because then she gets injected with Shimmer by the doctor. I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna call him the doctor, the scientist that works for Silco, and was the mentor of Victor. He uses Shimmer to heal her body and bring her back from the dead, basically, and this doesn't help her fractured mental state already. Like, Jinx is already on the verge of complete and total insanity by the beginning. Like, as a kid, it was bad, but like years of not having a support system to lead her down the right path has led her to like the needle's edge with a gigantic fire caused by an atom bomb beneath it. Like, she is just way gone. And it's just like, man, I don't want her to fall off, but like, this isn't helping. Like, she's just barely hanging on now. And then I want to say, after injecting with that Shimmer, she was like already falling, reaching for help, until she heard Silco talking about cutting a deal with Upper Piltover in episode 8, in which if he gives up Jinx, then they can, fix everything. And it's just like, oh no, Jinx heard that. That's not good. That's not good at all. This is really bad. My bad, not episode 8. That happened in 9. Episode 8 was when Counselor Mel's mother showed up, and she's awesome. And if we get another season, she's gonna be really bad news because of what happens. And I'm looking forward to that, because she seems like she's really strong and really smart, and I can't wait for our dumb strong protagonist to get into a fight with her. I would love to see Vi, and I'm gonna call her Mistress Madonna because I don't know what her name is. Her first name is, so Mistress Madonna and Vi, if they get into a fight with each other at some point in the future, I feel like that it's going to be a scrap to see. Like, that's going to be awesome. Episode 8, they're dealing with the aftermath of Powder stealing the gemstones. She gets transformed into, this like Shimmer version, and her eyes are like glowing like super purple and pink now after being injected with the Shimmer. Vi and Caitlyn, they try and go to the Chancellors to get across their point. They're like, "Hey, listen, Silco's bad. We need to get rid of him. Things are really bad. Can you guys do something?" And they're just like, "Well, maybe we'll talk to Silco. Yeah, that seems like a good idea." And Vi's just like, "Oh, okay, I see. Well, you guys aren't gonna help. Screw you guys." And then she just leaves. And then she approaches Jace, because he's the only one who seemed to want to do anything. She's like, "Hey, why don't we just go vigilante style, run up in there, beat the hell out of Silco, How about we do that?" So at first, Jace is on board. He builds his big boy Reinhardt hammer. He gives Vi the gauntlets, and they head down there. They start boxing with Silco's team to destroy one of his Shimmer factories. And unfortunately, which although this is probably one of the coolest fight scenes in the series, you unfortunately learn that all the people that they just killed are kids, because Silco has kids working his Shimmer mining factories. So like, all the people in there, like, a kid dies, and I'm not 100% certain of this, but it wouldn't surprise me if Silco did this, that all the people in like the giant mech suits that were trying to kill them, that were going crazy, are either they are addicts to Shimmer, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they were all kids in there as well. So they get into a fight in this mining factory filled with a ton of children, and one of them, definitely that we know of, is dead. And this Jace is just like, okay, I see what everybody was telling me about war. I shouldn't, start a war with, Undercity, because this isn't going to be good for anybody. And he has this really nice, meaningful conversation with Vi, which, to be honest, I do like the fact that Jace doesn't recover. He never becomes the way he was before, which is something I do like, is that no one's able to go back to the way that they were before. As much as you want them as a viewer, Jace doesn't go back to the way he was before. He doesn't become the happy-go-lucky scientist that he started the series off as, but he does come to an understanding of how things have to be, and he's just like, all right, listen, starting a war is a terrible idea. I agree with you, Mel. I'm gonna cut a deal with Silco, even though it goes against my personal morals. I'm gonna cut a deal with Silco and stop this war from happening, and that's what he tries to do. But of course, that doesn't exactly work out in their favor. So Vi, now having lost Jace, the only person working with her, having neglected Caitlyn because she thinks that things can never work out between them because Caitlyn's from Upper Piltover and Vi is from the Undercity. She goes off to just, self-destruct. She just goes to get herself killed. She goes off to fight, I'm gonna call her S, the lady with the shimmer robot arm that Vi fought ever since she was a kid. I forgot what her name is, even though she's really cool. She goes off to find her. They get into a really cool fight. Oh man, this series is just the rule of cool. Like, everything in this series is just so damn awesome. And I don't care how awesome it is. I'm still never playing League of Legends. It's just never gonna happen. But it was just so epic. They had a really cool fight set to some music that someone started playing on the jukebox. It's a jukebox. I know what those are. Started playing a song on a jukebox. Got into a scrap. It was really cool. I love the edits and everything that change mid fight, after they knock each other back. Vi grabs a drink real quick. She just puts the gauntlet back on, throws the glass at her, and is like, "Come on, let's just keep going." Love it, love it, love the character, love the personality wise. When I mean character, I love the character as a whole, but I love the character of the character, if you get what I'm trying to say. So they get into a nice fight. Vi just wants to die, but then the ghost of Vander shows up, and he's just like, "Come on, kid, I can't tell you things are gonna get easier, but they need you, she needs you, so come on, what do you say? Get back up." And she just stands back up, and he's like, "Yeah, that's my girl." And I'm like, yo, hold on a second. This was just supposed to be a cool fight. Why am I crying right now? So she finally beats her, completely, one-on-one, and she doesn't kill her. She just leaves. And unfortunately, after that is when Jinx starts executing her plan. She kidnaps Vi, she kidnaps Silco off screen, and she kidnaps Caitlyn, and she brings them all in this. Okay, so I'm a huge Batman fan, and every time I see Jinx's scenes, it just makes me think of Harley Quinn. No offense, but Harley Quinn also has a fractured mindset, and Jinx and Harley Quinn, they share kind of similar vibes in my eyes. I could be wrong, but hey, it's my personal take. And then Undercity has this really dark gothic steampunk vibe. So if Fortiche ever made a Batman series, I think it would probably be the best series next to Batman the Animated Series. Visually, it'd probably be the best Batman thing ever made. Story-wise, that's something that they would have to work out. But if they made a Batman, even if it was just a movie, ooh, it'd be really good. That's what I'm saying, because especially this scene, this setup that they have for the final confrontation between Vi, Silco, Caitlyn, and Jinx, in which Jinx is like, "Okay, as a result of this tea party we're gonna have, I'm either going to be Jinx or I'm going to be Powder. It's up to you guys to decide." And it just looks like the Mad Hatter's dinner table. If you've ever played the Arkham games and did the side quests with the Mad Hatter, the Mad Hatter, by his name, if you couldn't tell, has a whole Alice in Wonderland theme going on. And he always has like you see like his tea party dinner table where he has like all these stuffed animals and everything like that, and Jinx has that, but it's way more messed up than him because hers is comprised of stitched together mannequins of Milo and Kroger, and then she had as a seat for Vi and Silco and Caitlyn, which before Caitlyn is brought to the table, there's this really unsettling scene where Jinx brings out a plate and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Vi, I paid your girlfriend in Upper Piltover a visit," and like the music's so eerie and it's like fractured visuals, and it's just like I wasn't sure if Jinx did it. I wasn't sure if she like decapitated this woman and put her head inside of a plate, and that just shows you how unstable her character is. Because there are a lot of characters that are crazy that, unfortunately, because of the writing of the series, they're not going to go past a certain point. This was not one of those instances. I was definitely unsettled. I was unsure if Jinx had killed Caitlyn, and I was just like, "Oh man, is she gonna? No, nah, come on, not Caitlyn, bro. Don't kill Caitlyn like that. She don't deserve to go out like this." And then it wasn't. She didn't kill Caitlyn. She just stole the gemstone that Caitlyn had, and then she wheels Caitlyn out. It's just like, don't do that, please. So then they go through the rest of the dinner party, and Silco's like, I love you, Jinx. You're my daughter. I would never have turned you over to Upper Piltover. And Jinx starts like freaking out, and her mind scrambled. And unfortunately, Silco pulls a gun on Vi to try and take her out, so that him and Jinx can just be together. And Jinx, at the end of the day, Vi is still her sister. She still cares about her. Powder's still in her, so she grabs her Gatling gun and fires in a state of panic and to save Vi, and she kills Silco. And then she's like, "Oh no, 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 no! I'm sorry, Silco. Please, please, Dad." And he's just like, "It's okay. I never would have turned you over. You are my daughter, Jinx, and you're perfect the way you are." And that is it. She goes from barely hanging on to falling to a straight downward dive into it. She falls into the fires and becomes Jinx. And that scene where she just sits down in the Jinx chair, she just walks up and like taps it with the gun as Vi's trying to get through to her. And she just sits down. She's just like, "Well, here we are. This is the new status quo. This is how it is between us." And she grabs the gemstone, and Vi's just pleading with her. She's trying to get her sister back. And then she fires a gigantic rocket launcher into the counselors, which, holy shit, I was not expecting that. Like, seriously, this whole series, like I mentioned, all of the political background and everything, it's just noise in the midst of this story between Vi and Jinx. Jinx killing the counselors, it's not sad because she killed a bunch of political people that were going to end a war before it started. Yeah, that is sad, but that's the real reason it's sad. It's the heart, the meaning behind it. Vi and Jinx, Violet and Powder, have always tried to stay together. They've tried to be family. Vi has spent her entire life regretting that one moment where she called her Jinx. She's tried so hard to bring her sister back, taking every beating, every starvation in prison, waiting for the moment, training to get the chance to get out, to take out Silco, to find her sister, to get her family back. Jinx has always wanted to get her family back, but now it's gone. Powder's gone. Jinx lives, and Jinx doesn't need anybody anymore. Silco is dead. Violet's not her sister anymore. She says it herself that they have a new status quo. This is how things are between them. And then she fires the rocket launcher at the counselors, as a last resort of what Silco used to say. We'll show them. He was like, "We'll show them. We'll burn them to the ground." And that's what she does. She fires the rocket at the counselors to end them. And I'm just like, whew. Like, it's just such a powerful scene when she does it because she fires it off, and then Vi gets up, she grabs Caitlyn, they're walking out, and they see it, and like Violet's just in horror. And I was not expecting the last shot of this season, the final episode's last shot, when the rocket comes crashing through the window and it fractures and it turns into the visual of like Jinx's moniker. I was just like, bro, Y'all ain't had to go with this much sauce. Why you doing this to me? Oh, damn. Why? So much concentrated fire. I can't take it. You're burning me alive over here. I'm roasting. Like, oh man, that was just a powerful way to end off the season. And I really hope we get more because this doesn't feel like an ending. This feels like Arcane is telling an epic, and this was just the end of this was a grand ending to the beginning of a long saga. Now, I don't know if Arcane's going to be like an anthology series, if they do make another season, like it's going to focus on different champions from League of Legends, or hopefully they will continue with these characters and add in new champions that get connected up in the story as time goes on. I hope it's the second one, but at the end of the day, Arcane Season 1 is fire. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. Ah, man, such a good time. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this sometime. Still never gonna play League of Legends because it's just not my thing, but I will watch this series multiple times over. Hands down, we'll definitely do that. Oh man, that about ends this series, man. So that's the end of Arcane. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment on your thoughts about Arcane if you've seen it. And if you haven't seen it, then like I said, go watch it, then come back, comment how you felt about the series. And I will catch you all in the next one. And remember, you are innocent until proven villainous.